Welcome back to On the Movie Front. I'm Mikey Shee.
And I'm Robbie E. Today we're going to be reviewing Get Smart and Semi-Pro.
Yep.
Go for it.
Let's do it. Okay, so Get Smart. Movie starring Steve Carell, Anne Hathaway, Alan Arkin, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. This movie is an adaptation or a spin-off of the 1960s TV show Get Smart. And it's basically Steve Carell starts out as a geek guy, kind of doing the analysis and getting audio from criminals, and he builds his way up and wants to become an agent. And then there's Control, and who is the Carell team, and Chaos, who is the enemy. So Chaos bombs the control center, and then everything kind of goes haywire. So they need Steve Carell to take the reins and get out there as an agent. And the movie just kind of snowballs from there. So basically, I thought this movie was it was pretty good. It was enjoyable, and Steve Carell played the role to a T. I mean, I feel like you couldn't have done it any better. He was very funny, and he was serious with yet being believable as an action guy, which I didn't really expect to happen. I also thought that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was very comedic, and I didn't, I thought he could be funny, but I thought he was a nice little twist. And that's the one thing I want to say about this movie. I felt like it was good because it had a good supporting cast. Yes, it was about Steve Carell and Anne Hathaway, but having all those other good actors, Alan Arkin, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and even you have the hero from the show Hero is in there. And you have all these little kind of cameos / roles that really fill the movie up and make the parts with Anne Hathaway and Steve Carell enjoyable. So overall, I would give this movie a 7.
Good. It's a good score. I enjoyed this movie greatly. I mean, it was highly entertaining. It was a lot more action than I expected it to be, because, you see Steve Carell and Hathaway, the last thing you're going to think is that they're going to be doing an action movie. I mean, you got this funny man, you got this Disney princess. Come on, that's not going to work. And especially because I watched a couple episodes of the original 60 series Get Smart, and it was more of a spoof comedy type of thing where they're just spoofing Bond films, and they're doing these really weird spy gadgets and things like that, like the shoe phone. I mean, back in the 60s, they thought it was hilarious to have a phone wherever they go. And so, they were ahead of their time, but, so they had to, transcend this in a way from the TV to the screen, and so they just threw in a lot of explosions. There was as much, bang as there were laughs in this film, and that I really liked. It was a great summer blockbuster. Can I say sequel? I think so.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm going to give it an 8.
Yeah. So that rounds out to be a 7.5. And we will move on to our next movie, Semi-Pro.
Semi-Pro. This is Will Ferrell's newest jock comedy to date. And, I really wasn't a big fan of it, but let me just explain the plot a little bit. Jackie Moon, that's Will Ferrell's character, and he is this basketball player, owner, coach, you name it. Stuntsman, bear wrestler, everything. He does it all. And he's a part of the Tropics, which is an ABA team, the American Basketball Association. And the whole plot is that the ABA is merging with the NBA, and the whole deal is that the top 4 teams that end up in the ABA will be merged to the NBA. So you have your underdog story, your sports story where the Tropics are just a horrible team, no one goes to see them. They have to get people into their stands, and their mission is to get to the top 4 so they could join with the NBA. That's basically it, and, I did not like this movie one bit. I didn't think it was funny. I didn't get any emotions from this. There really nothing good about this film. Will Ferrell, I think he's washed up. He hasn't made a good movie since Anchorman. And, even though I liked Stranger Than Fiction, that really wasn't the movie. That really wasn't the role that he played to get famous as the funny man. He kind of played that straight, so I don't really count that. So I think the last good movie he made was Anchorman, and that's 4 years ago. That's too long, Will Ferrell. You're washed up. So my rating for this film would be a big 2. And I give it a 2. 1 point for each time I laughed during this film. What about you?
Well, it's pretty harsh words. I don't know what to say. I laughed more than twice during this movie.
I don't know how.
I mean, I thought it was just okay. Parts of it I did find funny. I mean, there were certain things I laughed at. You know, Will Ferrell's choreography with them all in costumes. It was comical. I mean, it wasn't hysterical. I do agree, though, the points when I was laughing generally weren't at Will Ferrell. The people I thought were hilarious were the commentators, played by Will Arnett, and another guy. Don't know his name. But they were hysterical. Just their one-liner after one-liner, I cracked up every time. And the other guy, Will Arnett's partner, was just so deadpan and so serious. Every time he said something, I was cracking up inside, thinking, how could he possibly say that without cracking up himself? And so, you know, those two for me made the whole movie, and they were in it about 35% of the time. They were commentating during the games, the most boring part of the movie by far. And, you know, and I did laugh at Will Ferrell like once or twice, but you're right, I think he is washed up. I will go on record by saying Anchorman is the funniest comedy out there, period, in my opinion. So, I don't know what happened. I did enjoy Talladega Nights, just for the record. Anyway, I give this movie a 5.
So what would that equal out to be?
So that averages our movie out to be a 3.5.
For the record, the 2 parts that I laughed in the movie were the alley-oop scene, when they bring up the alley-oop. I thought that was hysterical. It was a very good idea. And, you know, basically the other aspect was Will Arnett, but specifically the scene where he gets offended because the guy Tim Meadows calls him a jive turkey. That was pretty good. And then they start playing with a gun, and I was just like, oh man, this is good.
That was
good.
By far probably the funniest scene in the movie.
That was
the jive turkey scene.
That was good.
Alright, so that'll do it for this week's episode of On the Movie Front. Be sure to tune in next time when we'll be talking about Mr. M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong.
Just Shyamalan. Just M. Night Shyamalan. The scary guy. You guys know.
Yes, Shyamalan Ding Dong.
Alright. See you next time.
Alright. So, for next episode, what should we do?
Well, we're talking about M. Night, right? So
Yeah.
maybe we should film it at night.
Yes, well, that doesn't...
Yeah, the camera wouldn't pick us up.
I think we should throw in a twist and switch seats.
That's a good idea.
Let's do it.
I like it.
You'll never see it coming.
This feels so weird.
Yes.